Hey everyone, it's Lori, and I am here today with a used book haul. I have a stack of books up to about here next to me, so they may topple over at any point in time, but I just noticed that my shelf of books that I needed to put into our library thing was getting rather tall, so I got out my spiffy little tiny cat. I think that's what they call this thing, for scanning in my books, and got these all into the system. And before I go shelf them away where they belong, I thought I'd share them with you. So I'm going to start with my fiction and kind of move through to nonfiction. I will put timestamps below. If there's a specific type of book you prefer to hear about, you can jump ahead to the timestamps you're interested in. So this first one I got off of Paperback Swap. I think I had been on for a little while on the wish list, and that is The Last Wish, which is the first of the short story collections for the Witcher series. I've been hearing about it for about a year now, ever since I started watching book videos on YouTube. And there is the Amazon Netflix. I can't keep track of which one is doing what series. I think Witcher is Netflix and Wheel of Time is Amazon, but I could be totally backwards. So anyway, those sort of adaptations are getting me kind of interested in reading stuff. So I went ahead and got the first of the short story collections that a lot of different people have said you should read before the actual book one. So there's another collection after this that I'm on the wait list for on Paperback Swap now too. We got several that came from a thrift store. I think these all came from ARC. Yes. So this is Peace Like a River by Leif Enger. I loved this book. Not as much as I loved the book Virgil Wander. That is my favorite Leif Enger book to date. He only has 3. I've read all 3. They were all very, very good. This was the one the thrift store had. And so I wanted a copy for myself because I have checked all of these out from the library. So this is just... Leif Enger just has one of those writing styles that just is so compelling that I will read pretty much anything he writes. So anyway, Peace Like a River. The next couple I bought, one kind of with me in mind and one with my husband in mind. The first one of those is P.G. Wodehouse, Young Men in Spats. I don't know much about it, but I always enjoy P.G. Wodehouse. I like the Jeeves books a lot. So I'm not even sure if Jeeves is in this. I don't think so. But I just really like his writing style. So, and I think my husband probably would be interested in this one as well. It's kind of hard to tell though. And then the one I got from my husband is a Sinclair Lewis book called King's Blood Royal. The greatest novel ever written about racial bigotry and hypocrisy. I know nothing about this book. But I have read Main Street by Sinclair Lewis, and my husband has also read Babbitt. I don't think I've read Babbitt yet. I probably should sometime. But anyway, I saw Sinclair Lewis, and I think it might have been like the half-off sticker of the day, so went ahead and got this one. This next one I got off of Abe Books or Thrift Books or some sort of used book site. It's hard to remember a particular book site. And that is The Fairy Queen Book 1. And this and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight are the next 2 books for the next unit of our British literature for homeschool. I do have this on Kindle. I could not find Audible. Sometimes it's really hard with kind of older books finding good Audible narrations. There were a lot, but nothing that fit what I needed, which was The Fairy Queen Book 1. So I went ahead and ordered this on one of those used book sites, just so we would have a hard copy, because when 3 of us are sharing a book, it gets to be hard. And I know I could put it on 3 different Kindles, but the girls both have Kindle Fires, and they're always dead, so they always steal my Kindle, because it has a better battery. The next one also came from Paperback Swap. This was something that some friends recommended to my husband on Facebook. I don't remember what the conversation was, but it is called The First Man in Rome by Colleen McAuliffe, and it's part of a series, I believe. And she also wrote The Thornbirds. But this is the first book in the series, and since the whole series was suggested to him and it was available on paperback swap. I just picked up book 1 to see what he thought of that before I order more. This is Kristen Hanna, The Great Alone. This I also got at ARC, and basically I got it because it said Alaska 1974, and we just recently went to Alaska, so I thought it would be fun to do an Alaska novel, and I have been meaning to read something by Kristen Hanna, but I haven't yet, so I figured serendipitously it was about a topic I was kind of interested in now, and it was at the thrift store, so I got it. Next one is a little unique. I wasn't quite sure where to categorize it, but this is another one we found at ARC, and it is The Face is Familiar, and it's selected verse by Ogden Nash. Charlotte loves Ogden Nash. She's just a poetry person in general, so I just thought she'd really appreciate this. And I like how old it is, like it's all weathered here. Nice old book. I kind of have problems, but you know, you can't go wrong with a little Ogden Nash from time to time. Okay, we're at about the halfway point, and that was all of my fiction-ish, although I don't know where poetry really falls. So we're going to go into nonfiction. So the first couple I have are Catholic books. I got this one on paperback swap, called Reasons to Believe, How to Understand, Explain, and Defend the Catholic Faith by Scott Hahn. This was on my wish list for I don't know how long, so I'm not really sure who recommended this or if this is part of a reading thing, but when it came up as available, I just went ahead and ordered it. This next one doesn't really count as like a purchase because I found this in my basement. I have no recollection of this book. It was not in my library thing system. So apparently somebody gave it to me. Sometimes people give me books so that I can swap them on paperback swap so that I can get more books. And every once in a while I miss things in there. So there's a couple of like books I found in my basement. I have a problem. So this is Wife, Mother, and Mystic by Albert Brisseries, S.J. And this is about Blessed Anna Marie Taigi. I don't know how you say her name. And I don't know if she's still a blessed or if she's a saint now. I really should look these things up. But anyway, I found this one in my basement. Moving back to the thrift store, I picked up Friday Night Lights by H.G. Bissinger. This is something that was required reading in our Intro to Sociology class in college. And it really kind of made my interest in sociology come alive. I probably would not have majored in sociology. I also majored in accounting. I'm kind of weird. Had I not read this, this was kind of one of the first things that really introduced me to sociological thought. And I plan to reread this next month for Nonfiction November. Also, I got a copy of Nickeled and Dimed. This is by Barbara Ehrenreich, and she wrote the foreword for the book Made that I read, I think in September. I still am trying to get my husband in one place long enough to film a triple book review and discussion on that and a couple other books. But we didn't have a copy of this. I believe I read this a long time ago. It's hard for me to remember a particular book. My husband's reading Bright-Sided by her right now, which I need to get to as well. But I figured we'd like a copy of this. And then the rest of my nonfiction is kind of educational nonfiction. So the first three are books that I think my mom gave to me a while ago that got stashed in the basement that I forgot about. She is a retired biology teacher, so this will all make sense. The first one is a Golden Guide to Butterflies and Moths. It's just a field guide so you can identify all of the butterflies and moths. I don't like butterflies or moths. I am afraid of both. I will not be using this book, but we're going to put it on the science shelf. So if the girls want to identify a butterfly or, take it over to their cousin's house when their little cousins want to catch butterflies so that they can identify things, they are more than welcome to. Also have this little Nature Facts, which is a DK pocket book. It just has, little information about different types of animals and systems and so forth. So I figured it was worth having on the shelf since I found it in my basement. And then the third is How to Know the Wildflowers by Mrs. William Starr Dana. So this is more of a flower field guide. So it's older. I'm going to go with older. Copyright 1963. So it has, descriptions of the plants and sketches and so forth. So again, if people want to go outdoors while I'm reading a book inside, they are more than welcome to take this with them. Then the next one I got off of Abe Books or Thrift Books or one of those. And this, because we've needed this for a while. And it's Girls Get Curves, Geometry Takes Shape by Danica McKellar. Danica McKellar's math books are amazing, but kind of awful at the same time. Their target audience is, middle to high school girls who don't like math or feel they don't like math. And so there's always a lot of boy discussion, girly girl heel sort of stuff, which just makes my kids roll their eyes really terribly. But she explains math so well in between all of the kind of stupidness. So I just figured while I was buying, I think there was a coupon code if you bought a certain amount of books from whichever site I was on. And I was buying some used books as a birthday present for Charlotte. Those are not in this haul. They will probably be in the next one. And I just decided I might as well get a copy of this. And then the last two are also ARC thrift store books. The first one is Violin for Dummies. We tried. Eva wanted to play violin. We bought her a violin. There was a violin teacher for a while, a young woman who's now off at college. But it wasn't a good fit. We're very rural. It's very hard to find music teachers. We had a similar situation with Charlotte when she decided she wanted to learn flute. But I figured maybe if she takes a look through this, maybe she can self-teach herself, because apparently the whole finding a teacher thing was not going to work for us. They both play piano pretty well. And then the last one is gigantic. It is the DK Art School Introduction to Art Techniques. This was $5, so kind of expensive for a thrift store book. But it is gigantic and has all sorts of information on doing arty art stuff. I am not an arty person. Both my girls are very artsy. It skipped a couple generations. My grandma was an artist. I think my mom, like me, can barely draw a stick figure. So I just buy art books and let them do their own thing. That's how I help with art. So I hope you enjoyed this used book haul. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books or have suggestions for me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!